Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition to the Point Podcast. Everybody's doing well on this Wednesday, and we're midweek here. It's one of the slower weeks of the sports calendars. We have a lot of news in the world of sports, whether it's baseball, hockey. We have the Open Championship starting tomorrow. So tonight, I thought let's bounce around. We're gonna talk about a lot of baseball, but I got my guy Casey Ward here with us again, and there's so many stories. We'll have to get into all of them, but first off, Casey, how are things up in your neck of the woods?
Hey Noah, thanks for having me back on. It's always a pleasure to be on here. It's like a break from reality. It's just great escape. Everything's going well up here. It's business as usual, working from home, so getting that done and taking in the podcasts you and Seamus are putting out there. Listening to the Breaking Bad one there last night. You guys had her firing on all cylinders, so you guys are kicking that in the ass. So looking forward to seeing some more.
No, thanks, buddy. Yeah, last night, it was a fun one last night. 2 really good episodes. So me and Shay really dived into it for almost an hour and 15 minutes. You kind of forget how long you're on. But so you told me before the show, we're just gonna jump around today. I normally like to say I have like a set schedule, but not today. This will be an all over the place podcast. You got your Yankee hat on.
Uh-oh.
And you told me don't be hard on the Yankees, and I'm not gonna be. I'm gonna be fair, like I normally am. Sometimes I'm a bit mean, Sometimes I'm mean to the Leafs or Montreal, or some people say I love Andre Vasilevsky too much, and I said that's impossible. The guy's just a winner. But let's start talking baseball, and you look at the American League East, and it's a surprising halfway point because the Boston Red Sox are 21 games above 500, which is crazy because I look at their pitching staff case and I say, who do they have? They have Evaldi, who's had 2 Tommy Johns. They got Martin Perez, who I thought was out of the league. Eduardo Rodriguez, who's coming off major heart surgery. And yet they're 21 games above 500. It's really an incredible first half story.
Yeah, like if you would have asked me before the season started, where do you see like the AL East being at this point, I wouldn't have the Red Sox at the top of the list. I would have had the Yankees by a mile. But like you said, their pitching staff just seems to be kind of like who they have. Like there's no big name in the lineup, but I think that Pavita, him and Evaldi seem to have kind of been getting their game going as of late. They've been not the worst and not the best, but I feel like the big thing for Boston right now is their offense is just seem to be kind of just winning them games. Like Bogarts and Devers, like they're just unreal. And I think that's just like that's how they're getting it done, is just on the sticks and good defense, just not pitchers that are doing their jobs.
Yeah, Devers is a great player. One of the more clutch hitters in the game because he's second in the league in RBI. And had to have 72 RBI, one behind Vladdy. He's not getting talked about for an MVP. Obviously, he's not batting .330, but you mentioned him, and he's got 72. JD Martinez has 62. That's 2 guys in the top 10 of the league in RBI. So when they get opportunities, they are driving guys in, and that's the most important thing. If you have subpar pitching, you need your big boys to do that, and they do that at a very high level.
Yeah, and it's surprising. Like we say that they have subpar pitching, but I was looking on the MLB site, and they're up there, and they're still up there in pitching. They're still, I think, in the top 5. So I guess we're not giving the Red Sox as much credit as they're due on the hill, but looking forward to see how this last half of the season is going to be, especially in the AL East, because I got a little bit more interest in that division, so to speak. But I'm looking to see how it's all going to play out.
So juxtaposing that, you have the Rays, who are a game and a half back of the Red Sox, which I think we saw the Rays being good, but they lose. Obviously, they lose Blake Snell. You could say Kevin Cash lost him in Game 6 of the World Series. They trade away Willy Adames. They lose their other pitcher to potential Tommy John down the stretch here. But your Yankees, 9 games out of first place. It's been a struggle for them all year. They've never really caught fire. They've had little spurts. This weekend I thought this could be a jumping off point, but then your favorite player, Jose Altuve, hits a walk-off home run. Where's the biggest sense of frustration for you with this Yankees team?
Well, we've been here before. We've been here time and time again, it seems, every time I talk to you or anytime I'm around you with baseball on or whatever. Seems like our good old buddy Aroldis Chapman seems to make an appearance onto the good old mound. And every time it goes downhill, every time I swear to God I leave the TV, more frustrated with Chapman's outings. Constantly, he's just walking guys. I got written down here. He's got 22 walks and only 52 strikeouts in his close to 30 innings of play. So, I mean, he's getting it done, obviously, but he's struggling. I think as of late, he's kind of given up a couple of home runs here and there, and it's just kind of rocked his confidence a little bit.
Yeah, and it seems like more and more guys are staying in at bats with him. They're going to 3-2 counts and they find a way to get a walk or they get a single. And yeah, I agree. I think it's time for the Yankees to seriously consider moving Chad Green, who can pitch multiple innings and he's so valuable to that team. But you got to consider moving him to the closer spot because he's got dominant stuff. He's a really confident guy. I think the whole team would be confident with him in that role. And Chapman just doesn't have that same aura about him anymore.
Yeah, no, like Chapman used to be the big threat closer, right? He'd come in and throw 106 past you, and he'd have his 3 up, 3 down, and that's it, seal the deal. But you see guys like Altuve hitting bombs off him because he's throwing 80-mile-an-hour hanging breaking balls. Flashback to Freddie, just kills me. But I don't know. It just seems like the offense hasn't been there for the Yanks, but the arms haven't been there either.
No.
Garrett Cole's been pretty good whenever he's got the sticky stuff. Ask Jameis about that. Every night he's got the sticky stuff. His fantasy points just go insane. But
I thought you're talking about other sticky stuff there.
The Corey Kluber, I think he's a big loss for the Yanks arm. So I think they can try and acquire some pieces here at the end of the trade deadline. I think it'd be not bad to set themselves up.
Yeah, nine games is tough. Obviously, they can have a really good start because they play the Red Sox tomorrow in a 4-game series. So you win all 4. Well, they've lost the first 7, but if you win the next, you're only down 5. That's very doable. I mean, you got 2.5 months of baseball left, so there's still lots of time. But it is alarming to see the Yankees tied with the Toronto Blue Jays because the Blue Jays have an interesting first half because all I hear are the positive things. Obviously, the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is you can't say a negative thing about him. He got in shape. He's hitting dingers. He's hitting for average, which seems less and less popular anymore. He's playing great at first. Bo Bichette needs to learn how to throw him a ball without him trying to break his leg to make the catch. But he's been great. Bichette's hitting defensively. He's got his warts. You even got Marcus Semien, which looks like a great signing. He makes an all-star team, Teoscar Hernandez. And yet their bullpen and their starting pitching is bottom 5 in Major League Baseball. And it's really, it doesn't get talked about enough because it's all about the kids and the positive stories. But again, they're in the same position as the Yankees, and you really wouldn't know about it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like we've talked about it in the past. You see guys like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and you see Bo Bichette where they're struggling to bring themselves onto the field because, well, we just got 3 outs. Now we have to go onto the field, and our pitchers are going to give up a couple of runs here. How do you get yourself up for that? It's tough, but it seems like they've been managing thus far, but like the bullpen and the starting arms for the Blue Jays are definitely they need some upgrades.
Yeah, I mean, you look, Robbie Ray has been their best pitcher, and he was kind of a guy they acquired at the deadline last year. But Ryu's struggled since the sticky stuff has somehow vanished. Seems like a lot of great pitchers have struggled since that change, which is not ironic to me. Steven Matz has been hit and miss. He had COVID, then he comes back, got roughed up. Ross Stripling, aka Chicken Strips, one of the best nicknames in the game. He's been struggling. He's been hit or miss as well. And who do you, out of Rays, Yankees, and Blue Jays, who do you think poses the biggest threat to the Red Sox to potentially win the division?
Well, right now, given on the standings, I have a feeling that the Rays they're not out of it. I mean, every time that they're in the playoffs, it seems like they just they're so bought in, and when it comes down to it, they're invested, and they just want they're going to make every play that they have to try and progress themselves into the playoffs. So I think right now, without Glasnow, it's going to be big, but I think they still have some faith left in them. I think that second baseman, Brandon Lowe, I think he's been unreal this season. He's been really kind of leading the charge there, and it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the season is going to play out. I hope that the Yankees are more than competitive for the rest of the season. So,
I mean, I think they're going to have to be very aggressive, because Aaron Boone, I don't think will be back next year if they don't make the playoffs. I mean, that could be unfair, because they've made it to back-to-back ALCSs with him as the manager. So you could look at Cashman, who's been there 10 years, but I don't see them firing Cashman, because he's got Aaron Judge, he got Stanton. You could say he didn't do enough to acquire just some bats that hit for average. He loves to get the power bats in the lineup, but Judge has been good this year. He's not hitting 211, like he's batting almost 300. Mm-hmm. Stanton's been inconsistent. They love to bring Brett Gardner year over year, but it's frustrating for sure, because I think it's really hard, Casey, right now to find good pitching. Right now pitchers in the game right now are just average. You got your elite guys, then it drops. I think it's a significant drop off when you have your next level of pitchers.
Yeah, that's like, I noticed that exactly the same. Like the big guys, Yu Darvish, Trevor Bauer, Clayton Kershaw, DeGrom, Glasnow, Blake Snell, all these guys, right? After that, when you start to see the nuts and bolts of everybody's bullpens and everybody's starting lineups, it's a huge drop off. I mean, it's crazy to see. Like, I have a hard time following everybody that plays, but it's like I'll see every game. There's a guy that got called in, and you're like, who the hell is this? Like, but they're all up there, so they're obviously doing their thing. But it's just a significant drop off from watching the top dogs throw. So,
there's a little hypothetical for you. If the Yankees could get Jacob deGrom or Fernando Tatis Jr., who would you take?
I'm gonna probably take deGrom. That's just me, but I don't know. I don't really think that the Yankees need any more like power hitters, or like Tatis has that flair, but I think if the Yanks want to go the distance and win a World Series, they're going to have to do close to what the Dodgers have and the Nationals had, when they have three pretty much aces to lead them their way. So that's what I think.
Yeah, I would probably pick DeGrom as well, but it's so tough to take a pitcher over an elite position player, just with the Tommy John concerns, right? Because you lose a pitcher, he's gone for the year. You might lose a guy. Mike Trout has been out for 8 weeks, but he'll be back, and that would be my only concern. But yeah, I would probably go with DeGrom as well. But I mean, Tatis, he's so electric. And let's pivot to talking about the National League West, which is another division that's just stunning to me. First place, yeah, okay. Let's pencil in the Dodgers. Seamus. We know our friend Seamus. He likes the Leafs, so he's got to pick a team that will win something.
Yeah.
So he picks the Dodgers to root for every year, and yeah, they're in second place, not bad. But the San Francisco Giants are in first place with a lot of the same crew that won in the World Series but that was 6-7 years ago. Case These guys are Brandon Crawford, Brandon Belt, Buster Posey, and yet they are 21 games above 500, just like the Red Sox. And it's completely shocking to me. I did not see this coming at all.
Yeah, I didn't see this coming either. Looking, they have the best record going in the entire league right now.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
like it's just crazy to me. I never seen this coming, but it's good to see Brandon Crawford and Buster Posey, leading by the charge, and I think they could very well give the Dodgers a very tough time coming down the stretch here. But I think that this top three is probably arguably one of the best top three in baseball when it comes down to San Francisco, LA, and San Diego. I think it's like that's a big three-dog race to get see who's going to come out of there, because it's 57 wins San Francisco, 56 wins the Dodgers, 53 wins the Padres. That's neck and neck. So
yeah, and to your point, the Dodgers and Padres take up both wild card spots in the National League, which is really funny because as Dirk freaks out, but they're in second and third. That never happens. You'd think the Cardinals, the Cubs, they might be competitive, yet they're both been terrible. I mean, the Cubs they're on the verge of blowing it all up, and I kind of like the Padres a little bit more than I thought I would. I think Darvish has been incredible for them. What a trade that looks like. If Blake Snell can turn it around a little bit, they can push with the Dodgers, especially now that Trevor Bauer is in some hot water. Who knows, with domestic issues, he's off the field right now. So that definitely opens up. It gives some openings to the Padres to make this thing competitive.
Yeah, no, that's huge for the Padres with Bauer going out of the lineup for the Dodgers. That's a huge arm out of the lineup, and Tatis is probably just licking his chops, knowing that he doesn't have to go through that lineup again facing Bauer. He's going to be able to walk over any pitcher that he wants in that rotation. So it's going to be interesting for the Dodgers, and Clayton Kershaw's not 100% right now either. He's fighting some injuries, so those are two big arms out right now. So it'll be interesting, and I think that the Padres as well have a better chance of coming out here with a better showing than the Dodgers down the stretch.
Yeah, you mentioned Kershaw. I mean, Walker Buehler's having a great season. He's 9-1, but you look at ERA leaders, DeGrom, no surprise. Then San Francisco, Kevin Gausman, 1.75. I mean, that's dealing after 15, 16 starts. That's unreal. Then you got Brandon Woodruff from Milwaukee at 206, again, dealing. Lance Lynn at $1.99. I mean, these guys aren't, other than DeGrom, these guys, Gausman was in Baltimore looking like his career was over. Lance Lynn's been thrown around the league. I mean, it's been a crazy year, but I love to see some of these guys have better seasons and teams push, the Dodgers of the world, your Yankees of the world, to at least make it competitive and not so every year you have the same teams that are just paying a bunch of money to win.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's that's what it's going to come down to. I think a lot of these teams are starting to spend a little bit of money, and they're starting to get their pieces and starting to make the game a little bit more challenging for the big dogs like the Yankees and the Dodgers. So I'm all for it. It's creating a little bit of a little bit more interesting baseball, in my opinion. Yeah, like you were mentioning with the ERA leaders, I think the Padres there with Joe Musgrove. He's been pretty good this year too. He's been dealing it pretty well, but yeah, if you Darvish can really turn it around, then I think that the Padres could be in a very good position to place well.
Looking around the rest of baseball, I mean, first place in the AL Central, you got the Chicago White Sox. No big surprise there. They're young, but that division's gotten worse over the years. But they're also a very good team. They got the reigning MVP in Jose Abreu, who's fourth in RBIs, and they got some really good talent. And Lance Lynn, pitching for that team doesn't hurt either. You got the Houston Astros, which I know it's a team that you have a strong hatred for. I didn't watch the All-Star game or the home run derby. As you know, that's not my thing. Took a couple nights off. But what do you make of Correa and Altuve not going to the All-Star game? Not because, I want to, I just want to skip it, which I have no problem with. I love players saying they're not going. But they're not going because they don't want to get booed. What do you make of that excuse?
I'm not really a fan of it. I wasn't really tuned into, All-Star Week or anything like that. I watched a little bit last night just because I had really nothing else to throw on. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. It's like it's different because I don't know. The league gave them free pass. It was okay. Sorry, it happened. It's over with. It's done. I don't know. It just seems like it's people are still affected by it. People are still pissed off about it. I mean, if you I'm sure if you ask CC Sabathia what he thinks, mm-hmm. He'll let you know.
Or the Dodgers.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's just kind of childish. I find you get paid all the money in the world. You can't go listen to someone boo you for a couple of hours, but.
And to your point, like you didn't get any punishment. None of the players lost a game check. You didn't get any money. You didn't lose any. You didn't get suspended. Like, okay, you're gonna get booed. Like grow up. Like, stop playing the victim here. Like, you're guilty. Like, don't be friggin' OJ. Like, come on, This is how I would have done it, kind of thing. Like, I just think it's so childish that, Dusty Baker, I get it. It's a tough spot for him because he was not the manager when all this went down. But he's even the whole year he's been like, I don't get why people are acting like this. Well, you don't know why they're acting. Like, were you around baseball? Like, did you watch a game during that time? Like, if they should have just said they had a nagging injury and that would have been fine. But to say because they didn't want to get booed, I think that shows weakness from them and also from Major League Baseball for not punishing them for sitting out for that reason.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. Like, it's just, you see the kind of classlessness, I guess, so to speak, where like you can't handle getting booed for a couple of hours. I mean, if I was in the big leagues, like I'd be trying to beam either one of them or mm-hmm. Bregman. I'd be aiming for the ribs or that. But that's just me. I'm a passionate Yankees fan that all hopes and dreams were crushed through that ALCS. So,
and it's so frustrating too because they cheat. They didn't use steroids, but you look back to the steroids era. Every player that was using steroids was already an all-star. Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, obviously Barry Bonds. These guys were hitting 40 home runs a year. Like, why did you have to juice? You're already really good players. You see this year, Correa and Altuve are all-stars. Yordan Alvarez was an all-star. Like, why are you cheating? You don't need to. You're first place over an Oakland team that's also really good. Like, if you look at these divisions, other than the National League West, where you have Dodgers, Padres, I think Oakland's the best team that's not winning a division right now, and you're bleeding them by 3.5. So clearly, Houston's really good. You don't need that help.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Like, Houston's just, I don't know, they seem to be like above and beyond even without cheating in that division, right? Mm-hmm. So it is interesting though to see Oakland. They have been pretty impressive this season. I think Chris Bassett's been really good on the mound, yeah. And what's his name, Olsen there.
Matt
He was
Olson, yeah, first
yeah,
baseman.
he was pretty good last night too in the All-Star game. He wasn't too bad. He made a good showing, but it'll be interesting.
They're kind of like the Rays.
Yeah.
They got Chapman, who's a Gold Glove third baseman, but you're looking up at Laureano, and they got Elvis Andrus now from Texas. Like they just plug and play, and they're bottom 5 in salary every year, but they find a way to be competitive.
Yeah, no, and more credit to them. That's one way you got to get it done. So it'll be interesting to see this division, how this comes down. But back to Altuve and all them cheating. They're good enough now without it. They're good enough before without it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand, why you have to do it. It is what it is, right?
Yeah. I hopefully what it does do is that it keeps him out of Cooperstown. Because he was going. He's on that trajectory. He's won an MVP. He's a World Series champion. But hopefully, like Barry Bonds, hopefully like Roger Clemens, he never gets there. Barry Bonds got 1 year left. I'll say this till it's done. I hope he doesn't get in, because I don't like drug cheats in my Hall of Fame. Some people say the Hall of Fame's all overhyped. Well, I know both of us, sports means something to us. It was a huge part of our childhood. It remains a huge part of our lives. I don't want to see people that cheated be someplace where people work their ass off to get there. And people like Altuve, people like Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, they shouldn't be there because they didn't do it the honorable way. And, guys like Kershaw in the game right now, who had to overcome a lot of hardships to ultimately win a World Series, I think probably feels the same way.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. You don't want posers standing in this line of glory where you have kids looking up to them, and there's things that went on behind the scenes where this is what they did to get better, and everybody else doesn't get that same advantage. So I have a question though, leading off of that, because
Okay.
So I hate the Astros. Not gonna tiptoe around the subject. I hate them. Don't care what happens to them.
Yeah.
But so Altuve and Bregman and all these guys that are on trajectory to go to the Hall, since they're the ones that cheated, the offensive guys with the buzzer and the electric shocks and whatnot.
Yeah.
What do you think about like the pitchers? Say like Verlander and Greinke and all these guys. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's hard to say because we don't know if they got an advantage. They had to pitch. The batters know, okay, curveball's coming. Okay, I'll choke up. I'll bat it to left. I'll go up field here. For the pitchers, they still got to strike out Aaron Judge. They still got to strike out, Giancarlo Stanton and the rest of the party. So I think it's really tough because Verlander obviously gets traded there that year. He's Hall of Famer before, even though he's never won a ring, would have been one of the best players to not win a World Series in the history of the game. But I still think he gets in case because there's no proof that it benefited him. It wasn't like he was batting. He had to face the same batters. He had to face the batters on the other side. And yes, the batting of his team helped him win. But I remember he pitched, I think it was game 1 against the Yankees. He went the full 9 innings, went to extras, but he was lights out in that playoffs. And he did everything he could do to win.
Yeah.
How about you?
That's why I asked, because like thinking back, watching those games and Freddie with you, every night that the Yanks and the Astros faced off, it seemed like it was a duel. So they had some good pitchers in their rotation, and that's why I asked, because we can make up whatever we want about the batters, but I think for any team to win a World Series, I think it really comes down to their pitching staff and what they can do. So that's the only reason I had that question. I just wanted your take on it.
Yeah, but would you put Verlander in the Hall?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
probably.
I think you have to. Yeah. Yeah. No, I like the question, but what would concern me, because I don't think everybody thinks like us. I think they'll want to put Altuve in there. Some of the baseball writers, maybe they won't, because we see steroid guys not get in. But say the Astros this year go on to win another World Series, and Altuve wins World Series MVP or something, he gets closer and closer to getting, on the ballot and getting votes. That concerns me because this team could win one this year. They're every year they're in there and they're one of the best playoff teams out there. So that would worry me just as a person, like, oh no, Altuve, Bregman, they're getting closer to getting to that Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no doubt. It's definitely something that's kind of crossed my mind, and I don't know. It's just it'll be interesting when it comes down to it into the playoffs. I'm nervous for my Yanks. I wanted them to get in there, so I hope that they can kind of take out some of their vengeance on the past Astros.
Yeah, and yeah, it's thinking about those those pesky Astros, but yeah, they're a good team for sure, and they like to make it interesting. But I was thinking this division with the National League East, the Mets are in first place. Terrible injury on Saturday where we saw Ronald Acuna Jr. go down and tears his right ACL, out for the season. The team was struggling because they have Mike Soroka, the big Canadian, who re-tore his Achilles. He's had his second Achilles injury in 2 years. His career very well could be over before it really even started. They're 4.5 back. Phillies are 4 back. Do you see the Mets cruising to this division, or can these teams make it interesting down the stretch here?
Well, with the way that the NL East trending, I think that the Mets kind of seem to have a little bit of a stranglehold on first. I think just leading up to the deadline, I think that they might be a team that are gonna be some buyers.
Mm-hmm.
One player I think that might be getting shipped this way might be Chris Bryant. I think he could be getting the ship from the Cubs.
Yep.
If he lines up there, that would be a huge add to them, and it would only cement what I think could be a good playoff run for the Mets. But I'm not going to rule out the Braves, the Phillies. I'm not going to rule out the Nationals either.
Yeah.
That lineup that they have there is pretty phenomenal still. One of the things I'm not really a fan about still is how Strasburg's still not out and on the mound and stuff. But I just find he's so electric to watch. He's one of those arms that I'll turn the TV on to watch. So.
Yeah, in the postseason, he was so dynamite. I know what you mean. He just always looks intense, and he's kind of like Scherzer, because Scherzer, when he's out, Scherzer looks like he wants to throw the ball through the catcher's hand every time he's got it. You can tell he cares so much. And yeah, I don't rule out it's gonna be tough for the Braves without Acuna. I mean, not only is he their best player, but he bats leadoff. It's tough to find a good leadoff hitter, and he's constantly on base. And that's something that Marcus Semien for the Blue Jays has done this year so well. And, they want to try to get Springer back in that spot, but you're like, well, Semien's an all-star. Springer, you've been hurt, and, we can't put you back there. So they need to find a replacement for him. Maybe Ozzie Albies can do that. He was an all-star this year for the first time. But the Phillies with their pitching staff, I like the Nats too. And the Mets, they're a team that's recently constructed this way. They don't have any postseason success. They've never been in a race, really. So it wouldn't surprise me to see them get a little bit flaky and get, move a little down the stretch here if they struggle a bit.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if, the pitchers can keep up. And I don't know. I just have a little bit of faith in this Mets team making it out of this division. I don't know. I just have a feeling about it this year, the way that DeGrom's playing, and Stroman, he's been not bad for the Mets.
Taiwan Walker's been a good add too.
Yeah, Walker's been pretty good as well. Yeah, but I also, you can't really rule out the Phillies because their pitching staff has been pretty awesome as well with Wheeler and Nola. So I don't know. It's going to come down to it if depends on how the arms go, I guess.
Yeah, and if you could pick one team that's outside the playoffs right now that will get into a playoff position outside of your bias to the Yankees, who would it be? Either NL, AL or NL.
AL or NL? I'm gonna have to say, well, if the Cubs don't sell, I think that they could find a way to come out of their division with Milwaukee.
They're an interesting spot because Javi Baez is a UFA at the end of the year, and it'd be tough to lose him for nothing. He's one of the best shortstops in baseball, but does he return there? And Bryant's got 1 year left on his deal. I think Rizzo has a year and an option, so he could come back, but they'll have to make a decision quick because the deadline is at the end of July, and they could be getting a serious haul if they want to trade, 1, 2, all 3 of those guys, because I think especially Baez, but Bryant and Rizzo both add different things, and they've had playoff success. They've been there, done that. So they'll be coveted pieces on the trade market.
Yeah, no, I agree. But if I were to pick one team, if they don't sell by the end of the month, then I think the Cubs might be able to kick it into high gear and turn it around.
Yeah, I went with the Phillies. I don't know why, but they have something about them I like. Real Muto's had a strong season. Harper is not so much about Bryce Harper this year. He's more just a team guy. They got your guy Didi Gregorius down there playing short, decent pitching, and again the Mets. I need to see them prove it a little bit. And the biggest thing for these teams to get, if you're only 4 back, you need to win your head-to-head matchups. And those series, your divisional series are so important. You need to get those wins. And the Phillies, I think, can make life difficult for the likes of the Mets, and maybe the Mets can run into some trouble playing the Nats and Braves down the stretch.
Yeah, no, that's a good pick with the Phillies. If I were to change my answer on the spot, I would probably say that the NL East is going to be the division where the Nationals are going to come back, and they're going to show the boys down the stretch how it's done, because they've been there and they've done that.
Is that a prediction?
Yeah, if I could change my answer, that's what I would say.
Okay, so prediction: Nationals are winning the National League East. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bet the house on it. Bet the house on it.
Well, you're hot with your Habs, still the final. So,
yeah.
Hey, you take that data, everybody,
The world said, Nate, not happening. Everybody said Leafs in 5, Leafs in 4, Leafs in 6, Leafs in 2.5. Hey, we went to the finals. See you there.
Yeah, no, you're right. Before we leave baseball, who's your favorite player to watch right now in the game?
I'm on the pitchers. I just doesn't matter who, any big name really is. That's what I don't know. I've been a big fan of it lately, about the last year or so. Been really big into watching pitchers and getting to kind of in-depth kind of what goes into being a pitcher and all this stuff. To say one probably off the top of my head, goes against me, but I like Greinke because he's such a weirdo. Just it's so funny to watch him pitch, and it's just something different from the conventional pitcher. So
yeah, no, he is weird. His wind up and his demeanor on the mound. He's definitely an odd duck.
He even tells you what's coming.
Yeah.
Change up high outside,
I saw a video last night. It was funny. Liam Hendriks, reliever for Chicago now, he missed a pitch and he goes like, "God damn it!" in the All-Star game. Like, I wish they had that mic on all the time. I want to hear that. That's good stuff. You like pitchers. I love shortstops. And if I had to rate my bet, like Tim Anderson's a lot of fun to watch for the White Sox. He's acrobatic. He can make every play you want. But I got to represent my guy. I think he's one of the most electrifying athletes in the world of sports right now, and that is Fernando Tatis Jr. the third. Could he improve his defensive play? Absolutely. But some of the plays he's made in the past couple weeks, like just darting guys out at the plate, throwing a gun, making that catch he made in midair to end the inning.
Yeah.
And of course, he can also hit the ball 450 feet. So so there's a Padres game. If Sportsnet will ever put a game on that's not just the Blue Jays, I'm like, okay, I'm either watching it or I'm PVRing it because I want to see this guy and what he's going to come up with tonight.
Yeah. Would you say, yeah, no, I agree with you on Tatis. He's absolutely unreal to watch. And we've talked about it before about how we loved the Trevor Bauer and the Tatis beef when they had it going.
Yeah.
But with that being said, would you say that Fernando is your runaway NL MVP?
Yeah, I would say so. I think Schwarber was in the mix for a little bit, but he got in. He had like 16 homers in an 18-game stretch, which was unbelievable. But yeah, I don't see that, that many close people to Tatis right now. It's all in the AL. Vladdy, you got Ohtani, like I said, Devers. But I think Tatis, and then especially with Acuna hurt, I'm sure a guy will emerge and have a great second half, and you'll say, well, maybe this guy can make a push. But if I had to pick a guy right now, yeah, I have Ohtani I have Tatis by a sizable margin.
Yeah,
cool. And Ohtani as well in the American League.
Yeah, I got Ohtani in the American League. I flip-flopped on it twice with the AL, but I don't know. I have Tatis in there as well, but one guy I kind of been watching a little bit more game tape of, especially the last 24 hours, because you told me we were coming on, was Castellanos of the Reds.
Yeah,
he's he's not bad. He's been.
I love him too because he's
been hitting the ball hard,
and he'll mix it up. I love watching him play. He's a converted third baseman to right field. That's not easy to do, and he's got good power. Cincinnati's second in that division, like not the Cubs, not the Cardinals. So no, I like Castellanos as a underdog pick as well. He's a really good player.
Yeah, no, that would be my sleeper pick if something traumatic were to happen to Tatis. I think he would be a good second dog in the race.
So, pivoting from baseball, as it'll resume tomorrow night, Yankees Red Sox to start the second half of the season. We'll hope for better fortune for your Yankees. Amen. Tomorrow also starts the last golf major of the season, the Open Championship, as some people like to call it. The British Open, as us over here like to call it, and the other side of the pond. Last major, it's always weird because it's over in Europe. The weather can be very different. We've seen 13 guys already withdraw from this event, some due to COVID, some due to visa issues, injuries, what have you. Do you have any sort of feel towards a player or the event heading into tomorrow?
Well, my pick for this weekend was leading up to this weekend until he found out that he wasn't going to be playing was Hideki. I was kind of had that feeling that he was going to play very well after the Masters. Just that kind of feeling. Just the previous major champions seem to find that extra gear and be able to dig down deep and find themselves. But with him being out, it's tough to kind of pick one front runner, but it's kind of hard to go wrong with DJ or Rory. I'd like to see that come down in the final major of the year. It'd be not a bad last pairing.
Yeah, both could use it because they've struggled this year mightily. Rory just missing the cut last week at the Scottish Open, DJ missing the cut the first two majors this season. So they both could use a confidence boost. Obviously, John Rahm's coming off winning the U.S. Open, but I don't see him winning back-to-back majors. That's so rare and it's so hard to do. And he's played one tournament since then. So he did play well last week, though. I think of Koepka, and he's had a really strong year. He's played well. He missed the cut at the Masters, but he had knee surgery like 2 weeks before. So I'm going to give him a pass there. The other two majors, he finishes in the top 5. And I just think the way he's played this year at the majors, it would be unjust if he doesn't come away with a major title this year. And he's never won the British Open. So I kind of think Koepka has some momentum heading into the last major of the year here.
Yeah, it's tough to say because like we've talked about, like just face to face before, how Koepka's the guy that shows up in the majors. He doesn't really care about these other tournaments. So it's definitely a possibility that Koepka could come in, place 2 good rounds, get in there low, and then get have some room to carry in the weekend. But it's tough to say. I know that these European golf courses are a lot tougher. They just roll it. Everything rolls right out. So it'll be tough. And thinking of just being able to manage the course, I think Will Zalatoris might be someone that might be able to manage this course all right. So I'm interested to see how he'll do. He's in the group tomorrow with DJ and Justin Rose, I think. Or I can't remember the last name, but yeah, I'm interested to see how that's going to
go. Have you ever played an event where you had a caddy?
No, can't think of
it. Because I was going to ask you about DeChambeau. Obviously, parting ways with his caddy just the night before the Rocket Mortgage, and he's had an up and down year. Looked like he was going to win the U.S. Open, and had one of the worst back nines in golf history, where even my old man was watching golf thinking like, what the hell is going on here? And on Father's Day, and now he's got a new caddy. He's in the spotlight with Koepka. It would be a story if he found a way to win this British Open. Like you said, the courses are so tough, and they're not exactly meant for a guy who drives the ball a significant ways, but it's not like his other parts of his game are terrible. Like he can work on his approach shot, but his putting looks awkward, but it is effective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he's definitely someone that you can't really pass on because just of his skill alone. He seems to be able to get it done, even if he bombs it, 340, 350. But he's proved that he's able to hack it out of any rough or any bunker, get it in close, and his putting it's ugly, but it gets the job done. I won't comment more on it, but he just looks he looks like a robot. It doesn't look comfortable. It doesn't look pretty. So I'm not a huge Bryson guy, but it'll be interesting to see if he'll fare well this weekend. I hope he doesn't personally, but
so okay. If you're a betting analyst, you're a bettor.
Okay.
If you had to bet that he finishes in the top 5 or misses the cut, what would the bet that you would take?
See, this is a tough one because the real me would probably throw action on both sides, but just I don't know, but it's tough. He's won in the majors before. He's won a U.S. Open, so it's it's possible for him to be able to translate that game from U.S. Open difficulty to Scottish Open or the Open, whatever you want to call it. It'll be interesting to see if he's able to make that transition. So definitely not someone to rule out, but I would maybe lean towards. It's hard to say miss a cut because it's could be very high days for everybody in the field. So I'm gonna have to say I'd lean probably more towards the top 5, but yeah.
Yeah, begrudgingly, you say he's gonna probably make the top 5 more than miss the cut.
Yeah, I'd have him probably more making the top 5, but I'd be praying for lots of bogeys and doubles on the back.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Like you could have the lead and then slip it away, like top 5 that way. That'd be perfect.
Yeah, this major has no feel to it because they played at the Scottish Open last week. There's been nobody playing in the John Deere, the Rocket Mortgage. So there's a lot of people dropping out. Maybe people have had. You mentioned a couple of guys who have had tough years. Your guy Justin Thomas hasn't exactly been spectacular this year. he's flying under the radar. I could very well see him making some noise this week.
Yeah, he's not been very pretty this year as well. More of a disappointing season for him, I would say. He seems to be hitting the ball well. Like I've seen numerous clips of him this week over in at the Open, hitting the ball pretty well. So it's going to be interesting to see. He's definitely someone that I have rooting for in the back. But if he also doesn't play well, it's water under the bridge because he hasn't been playing very well all season except for his lone win. So
yeah, no, I think somebody outside of the top 10 in the world will win this major. I'll say that today. I don't think Louis Oosthuizen will do it, even though he's played well at all three majors this year. I just think it'll be somebody that comes out of left field and they win maybe their first major ever, kind of like Hideki at the Masters. Nobody saw him winning. I think we'll see another guy like that win this week. And yeah, I don't really have a great feel of who it is, but maybe it's like a Jason Kokrak. He plays well at all these minor events. He's a guy that maybe could make a push at a major. But yeah, I just think it'll be somebody out of left field, not one of the household names that takes home the final major of the season.
what do you think about Fleetwood? Do you think he has any opportunity this weekend?
I do, yeah. Another guy that he just basically plays the European tour. You never see him in any other event, but he's a good major player. He's gonna be a home favorite, being over there. So I think that helps him. And also it helps him that Rory's there, even though the tournament's not in Ireland. I think Rory, he knows the pressure he has to win. He's won there before, but he hasn't won a major in a while. And to play at home, and if he has a tough start to the day, it's going to be a long one for him because he's going to hear about it. We saw a guy try to steal his golf club last week. I don't know how security let that happen, but he's going to have a lot of pressure this week to perform and look well doing it.
Yeah, that last week when the buddy tried to steal his driver and then he ended up taking a wedge, I thought that was hilarious. Like that was, if there was a moment like where you should not be sleeping on the job or you should be paying attention is when guys are on the tee box or they're on the green. It's like, to me that's almost like common sense. But as we know,
there for a while before security went and got him.
Yeah, took a couple of swings, get a feel for the club. I didn't know if he was going to put a ball down or, but as we know, common sense ain't very common nowadays. So
no.
It was very funny, and I think Fleetwood's a guy that you can't step over because he's got some game, and I think he's still got to prove himself. So what better weekend than a tournament on your home soil, so to speak. So
Open Championship starts tomorrow. That should be fun, last major of the year, and then you got the race to the FedEx Cup playoffs, which I like what they've done more with the FedEx Cup than prior to where you just finished it. You were basically, you won all the money. At least it's a tournament down the stretch and guys can make up some strokes as we go. Hockey just finished. We got the expansion draft next week, the NHL draft a week from Friday, where Owen Power looks like he's going to be going first overall to Buffalo. But we did get some news this week, Case, and I'll touch on it quickly. I know back in the day you were a big Oilers fan. I know you kind of drifted away from that a little bit. You still like your Oilers, but I know you like your Canucks as well. But your Oilers traded for Duncan Keith, parting with a third-round pick and Caleb Jones in the process. What'd you make of Ken Holland going out there and getting the three-time Stanley Cup champion to add to his roster?
I wasn't too surprised. I kind of heard, I think I seen something on Twitter or maybe it was TSN about Keith wanting to kind of move or part ways and kind of move closer to family, that kind of situation. And with this contract and everything, he kind of had the lay of the land and can kind of, lay out what he wanted. Edmonton, great spot for him. Fit him in there somewhere on the second pairing. give them Larson or something, kind of get them rolling, give a couple stretch passes up to McDavid. By the time they're already on the bench, they got secondary and primary assists. Can't go wrong with that. One thing I was surprised was Edmonton taking all the cap
Salary.
retention. Yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised with that, but I think with what everybody kind of wants to accomplish, I think is probably best for Chicago if they're looking to try and make some moves this year, especially with Caleb Jones going there. I think that's I think they're looking at trying to land Seth Jones this summer, if that's not if we're not leaking anything crazy or whatever. I think that's kind of the ideals for them. But look, I think it's a good trade. I think it's going to pay off well for Edmonton, hopefully. But tough to see a guy like that leave Chicago.
Yeah, people have been hating on the deal, and I like, let them play a game first is what I like to say. Yes, you hate the Taylor Hall trade for Adam Larson. This is completely different. Duncan Keith, like you said, is going to be in the second pair, maybe the third pair, where you have at least 4 guys in front of them. Where if they can keep Barry, you got Nurse, you got Clefbaum, Larson. They hope to re-sign. And you have guys that are going to be above him all the time. And he's just going to be a good leader. He's not going to be the Duncan Keith winning the Conn Smythe, but that's not what he's asked to be. Teams make mistakes when you trade for veterans. You ask him to be what he used to be. They're not looking for him to do that. He's just a bit piece on a team that they hope can contend or at least win a playoff round in the not too distant future. So I like the deal. It's smart by Chicago as well, because you get Caleb Jones. It helps you with your pursuit of Seth. And even if you don't really love Caleb Jones, well, I love Seth Jones. So if that helps me get closer to getting him on my roster, I will take Caleb and swallow that and say, Seth, your brother's here. It's great. Come play for the original 6 franchise, and let's try to rebuild what we once had.
Yeah, that's definitely not a bad bargaining chip to have his brother already suiting up there. So, yeah, I think if you sent Seth Jones up to Chicago, he's already worn that Portland Winterhawks jersey. He's worn those colors before. Might as well take it to the next level. Go from the dub to the NHL. That's big step, but it's still something that I don't think is too big of a step for Seth Jones, considering his game so well. But yeah, I think the free agent market is going to be something coming up here for the NHL, and especially with the expansion draft leading up.
Yeah. A guy who would hit the free agent market is Brandon Carlo, but he got re-signed today to a 6-year deal with the Boston Bruins for $4.1 million a year, which is over $24 million to contract. What did you make of the deal for the Bruins and for Carlo?
I think it's a good signing for the Bruins. He seems to be one of the pieces that didn't fare very.
He had a tough year.
Yeah, he had a tough year, but I think they're looking to put it past him. I don't know. I think if he can get a better year under him, then I don't know. He'll have a little bit more success gaining that confidence. But yeah, I'm surprised. I'm kind of surprised that he ended up with a ticket like that.
Yeah, I think it's a good signing on the surface for the Bruins. They continue to do that. Look at Pasternak, you look at Bergeron, McAvoy. I mean, I could go on. Their stars get underpaid, and they accept that, and they got a winning culture. The only thing I see as a concern, and I love the player. I love his game. I like he's got brute strength and all that, but he's got some concussion problems and injuries. And today, Kevin Miller retired at 33, primarily because of concussions. And I worry about Carlo long-term. You got him for 6 years. And we hope that he doesn't get injured or nothing bad happens. But what if something down the road happens and he can't play? And then you have another 3-4 years that you got to deal with that guy on long-term IR, or worse, just sitting there rotting. So I love the player, and this is just worst case scenario. But looking at both sides, I love it right now. But a few hits I could really hate this deal for the Boston Bruins as well.
Yeah, no, that is a good point of view. That's you never ever want to see guys get injured, or
No.
it's one of the I hate watching it. I hate, like, they start to show instant replays and stuff. I'm one of the guys that look away, but you really hope to see these guys that sign good deals. You want to see them pan out, and you want to see things work, but that's sometimes not always the case. But it's interesting signing, and I think if it does work out for them, then I think it's a good piece. But that's up to Carlo himself to decide. So
Yeah, and we'll close today's pod with the Minnesota Wild. It was no
yes, sir.
surprise that they were going to buy out Zach Parise. He's been wearing down physically, and just his play has dropped over the last number of years. And just for reference, he signed a 13-year deal in 2011, 2012, 2013 with the Minnesota Wild for a boatload of money. And the same day, Ryan Suter signed the same 13-year deal, and they are signed through 2024, 2025. And yesterday, they bought out Parise and also Ryan Suter. And it surprised me, Case, that they did both of them. I think Suter is still a pretty good defenseman in the NHL. Not what he's getting paid, but still a very good defenseman. But, it surprised me, but it also told me that Minnesota, after a positive year this year, losing in 7 to Vegas, believes that they are closer to championship contention than maybe the hockey world thinks right now.
Yeah, no, I was surprised to see the Sutter buyout. To be 100% honest, I still thought his game was up there especially for Minnesota Wild, but the Parise buyout wasn't really surprising. He's been a bottom feeder there for a little while now, but I think this is the shift that the Minnesota Wild need. Bill Guerin gets a little bit of room, kind of has some opportunities to progress themselves into the one of the contenders to go up with Vegas, so to speak. So I think this could be a very big offseason for the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah, they're going to need to pay off the next couple of years, because how this works is they get $10 million of free cap room this year and next year. So they get cap relief from these two contracts. But after these next 2 seasons, you do have to pay the piper eventually. And in 2 years from now, they have a $13 million dead cap hit, which is basically you have your salary cap. If it stays at 80 million, they'll have $67 million to spend, where 13 million is off the books and you can't do anything about it. And then the following season, it's $15 million in dead cap money. So I mean, you have 65 million in our current financial place right now. So it's going to hurt them, but they need to bring Kaprizov back, see if they can add a few. They've already signed Joel Eriksson Ek to an extension, see what they can do to add to this already pretty talented roster after a surprisingly good season.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think that these guys could be a team to mess with here in the not too distant future. How many years left does Kaprizov have on contract? Just one, or
he's an RFA right now.
he's got to sign, eh?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. What
So
you think? Any chance?
Rumors he might go back to Russia.
Yeah, I've seen possibilities of this.
Yeah, so that would be terrible for the league and for Minnesota, obviously, and I don't want to see that happen.
So what were the rumors like? Why is he thinking about leaving?
I think just home and potentially getting more money in Russia.
Mrs. Soviet Russia.
Yeah, go play with Shipachyov and Datsuk and Kovalchuk, all the guys who kind of
see Datsuk's contemplating retiring.
Yeah,
he's thinking about hanging him up. Doesn't know if the body can withstand any more of the Magic Man's moves.
Yeah, well, if he does, hell of a career, and he'll be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. 5 years from now. So yeah, hell of a career on him. But fun stuff today, Case. Always fun when we get together and do this. But Any big plans for this weekend and for the rest of July?
Well, no, not too many plans for the rest of the July. Just kind of play it by ear, whatever me and he'll kind of live week by week and take it as it goes. But lots of golf in the forecast. Yeah, lots of golf. Looking to go low. Trying to get out with Seamus. We're trying to work on that. We have a dedicated cameraman that said he would video Seamus's every move on the golf course. My brother Blaine, he volunteered his tribute. I told him that he'd probably be in the sticks and the weeds for hours trying to find Seamus's ball because we're gonna make him go in there with none in his pockets. So
Right.
it'll be tough, but we're looking to get him to break 100 legit. So we're on that grind. So we're trying to get out with Seamus and trying to get down to Rexton and hang out with yours truly.
Yeah, well, if that gets done, I will definitely be going. And I'll help Blaine with production or chirp or just be a nuisance. Maybe I'll caddy one guy each hole. So I'd love to do that sometime this summer as well, because I think that would be a riot. Maybe Blaine could splice out some of it and we could post it on the to the point social medias.
100%. No, that's something that'd be that'd be the ultimate content, so to speak, for the To the Point podcast. Two of the recurring guests going at it on the sticks with the boss man at the on the bag. So that'd be just next level, even if it was at Chapel Point.
Yeah. Anywhere, we'll go to Europe if we got to get this going. We'll play somewhere. But no, Case, thanks a lot for joining me today, man. And I'm sure we'll do this again real soon.
Yep. No, it sounds good, man. I appreciate you having me on as always. Go Yankees.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how the Yankees do. They start up again tomorrow night against the Red Sox. Everybody, I know Casey won't be watching, but if you're enjoying the NBA Finals, Game 4 tonight, 10:00, Suns, Bucks, live from Milwaukee. But we'll be back soon to talk lots more as sports gets back into the swing of things. Enjoy the weather while it's here. Take care, and we'll talk soon.